Welcome back to the channel, and in a previous video we went on a used parts hunt and we got some good deals. When scavenging the Facebook marketplace, and I found a deal for $200, and it was for a computers and a bunch of parts, and I offered $100 primarily because they said, well, you know, they wasn't sure if it worked and the history of it. I offered $100 and we scored pretty good. But in that video, if you watch it, there was a serious issue and disaster, and you'll definitely have to check out that video to find out why. Even though it was a great deal, yeah, that deal was intense. But moving on, we scored an i7 9700, a Ryzen 5 4500. We were able to take the motherboard out of that Dell Inspiron 5675. It had a Ryzen 7 1700, and we're not done with this motherboard just yet. We're going to be doing a separate video on that because there is an issue, but we are going to address it. RX 580, memory I think I mentioned, a GT 1030, and they had some extra memory and CPU that I was able to stock up along with the power supplies. So for $100, steal of a deal. Now, shortly after that deal, I went on another one, but unfortunately, GoPros tend to suck, and well, when you hit the button, it's a gamble. It might do something, it might not. But I was able to score up this Asus Strix. This is the 1070. Picked this up for $40, which that was an amazing deal. And also this height case. I believe this is the Y40. I actually had one of these on my personal rig for a while, and I picked this up for $20. So $60 for a graphics card and a case. That was an amazing deal. The case has its dust, but we already cleaned it up. The graphics card is in used perfect condition. So we're off to a good start. We're gonna build a computer and see how much I could flip it for. So let's get started. So this is Gigabyte B365 HD3, and we're going to be running it with the i7 8700. Now the 9700, I did use it for another build that I put together featuring Star Wars. That's another video you might want to check out. 500 gig M.2 was also part of that deal. 16 gigs of DDR4. This is 3000 megahertz speed. Let's get this out of the way. 650 watt power supply, and to pair it off, we're going to be going with the Strix. Whoop. Zoom you out. Strix 1070. This thing was in immaculate condition. I mean, whoever had it really took care of their stuff. Put fresh thermal paste. Temperatures are beautiful, and it's a pretty good combination. So timing is perfect, and timing can be awful. Definitely no bueno. So just got a call for a customer, and they said, hey, I need a computer and I need it in a couple of hours. Probably about 4 o'clock. So it's 1 o'clock now. They need to pick it up by 6, so in about 5 hours, which is fine and dandy, but they want RGB. Great. Going through my stash, I don't have any RGB fan kits or anything like that. So I'm going to run over to my local computer store and see what they got. Typically, they have the Arctic fans. It's kind of unfortunate because it does cut into my profit margin because we'll have to buy some new fans. And I think it's like $40 or $50 for a 3-pack, which it's fine. It is what it is. That's the cost of doing business. So yeah, let's head over to the other side of town and let's pick up some fans. And the punches keep punching. So let's see if I get this open. My SUV won't start. That's not good. Crank, no start. I think it's probably the crank position sensor. If you're going to be interested in seeing what is wrong with this and me fixing it, check out my other channel, DLM Garage. So now I'm stranded. The missus is out and about doing the right thing, hanging out in the pool with friends while I'm sweltering in the garage. So I can't get in touch with anybody, and I need parts like now. This is not good. The whole deal of this computer is that I need to have it in 5 hours. Got nowhere to go. Neighbors are busy. So yeah, we're off to a great start. So I got to thinking, and I'm gonna do what probably every computer person builder does, cannibalize. So recently I built a computer, kind of a Star Wars Jedi Order type deal. Picked up that Titan XP graphics cards, the Jedi Order one, for like $100 on the Facebook marketplace, which was a steal of a deal. And side note, my dog's a chicken. But anyways, I need the fans from it. Now this is a Thermaltake P3 case. These are up here fans. They're just cheap fans. They work pretty good, and for the price, I think I paid like $20. They might have gone up since then. They have a little hub. You don't have to plug it into the 4-pin, whatever. There's a remote control, which I think fell or is hidden around here. So let's cannibalize this. Now, the fortunate thing with this case is that it is really easy to take apart and work in. And I didn't put all the screws in. So now this is one of those situations where I'm really hoping that I did the wrong thing and didn't wire tie this and do good cable management. I don't think so, because the hub is around here. I just kind of tuck things in. It looks like we found the power. We can plug that. There's our hub. I'm just going to go ahead and unplug this. Bingo. Yep, I'm gonna need wire cutters. Got a pair of these. This was sent to me by a viewer. He watched the channel and he commented that he was tired of me using the wrong ones to cut zip ties in. He sent them to me and I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, honestly, I didn't have those and I just used whatever I got. But having the tool every now and then is greatly appreciated. So, huge shout out to the viewer that sent me that. Harvest complete. Let's get back to the garage. So, lucked out. Got 3. Oh, I gotta grab the controller. And I found 2 extra ones. These are also up here fans. They look different, but if I tuck these on the top of the case, you won't see that they're different. But they have the RGB lighting. I do know they work with this hub. The system works together. I guess these are just a different design, but should be perfect and good enough. Now we're going to take all this hardware, pop it in the case. I'm not going to do my traditional montage. We're just going to do quick little snippets, put it together, see how it looks, and run it. Now, folks, if you're going to do this, hoard all the screws that you can. Obviously, this case, I bought it used, so I don't have all the screws that it came with. Plus the motherboard, everything else, no screws, and it's fine. Power supplies typically come with screws, but this don't have it, so hoard all your screws. If not, you could get a, I think I've seen a screw kit on Amazon for like $20, $30, but this is years, and it saves money. All right, so we're put together and just in the nick of time. Customer is going to be here in 20 minutes, so that worked out pretty good. So building in this case, the Y40, very easy, very simple. But as you can see, all our parts came together, and even this RGB, this Up Here brand, although cheap, works very well. And personally, I like using the RGB with its own controller and remote, because a lot of the times you get people who are not 100% computer savvy. And the issue that I run with that is that when RGB software, and I've always had that luck, it starts to glitch out and do weird things. The RGB goes to rainbow puke, it stops working, it does all types of weird things, and then you're getting a phone call from the customer, hey, my RGB is not working, can you take a look at it? And I hate dealing with RGB software, so I prefer to do that if I'm going to sell computers. Now, for being composed of all used parts that I picked up on the used parts hustle, browsing the Facebook marketplace, I will say I'm in this pretty good, and I got a fantastic deal. Now, the only thing I will say is, like, when you're buying used motherboards, you run into the issue of you don't have the rear IO plate. It's not the end of the world. Computer will still run fine without it. It's more aesthetic than not, but I've sold a lot of computers without it, and I've never had an issue. Now, for our price, we paid $60 for the graphics card, $20 for the power supply. The motherboard was part of a used deal where I got a whole bunch of other parts, but pretty much the motherboard, CPU, and memory alone, when I break everything down, comes out to about $20. So that right there puts us at $100. Now, I did pay $40 for the case, which puts us at $140, and the M.2 was part of that used parts deal. So if I even had to give a price on that, I would say maybe $10, and that's even being, let's just make it $10. This probably was included, so let's just make math easy. $150 is what I'm into it, and buying used is a risk, but sometimes you score really well. And one thing I do fail to mention is the CPU cooler. That I'm not including that in the price, nor am I including those fans in the price, because number one, the cooler just came from another computer that I stripped out that was bad, and that was probably over a year ago. And these fans, I've had them around the garage for over a year, so that's just stuff that it's time just to move them on. They don't have a lot of hours on them. They've barely been used. They just kind of used for aesthetics or just little projects. So for $140, I have this thing sold for $300. Of course, I'll provide my warranty with it. I've stress tested it. Everything works 100%. No overheating, no issues. I repasted the graphics card, so this system is good to go. So with that being said, if you spend a little time on the marketplace, the Craigslist and everything, yes, there are risks. Folks, I can't stress this enough. There are risks. There's been hardware that I've bought that have been dead. There are provisions to protect yourself as far as requesting the sellers to take videos of it running, and a lot of different things you can do, but I take more towards the risky side. I lowball it. I take the chance. I assume the risk, and more times than not, I end up coming out ahead, but other times you might not. So comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticism, used parts. Do you mess with them? Do you even sell them? I know a lot of people say that they don't like to mess with that stuff. I love selling used parts. You get great deals. You can make some good flip on it. And as long as you stress test it and do it the right way, you shouldn't have no issues. And also, do you think this price is fair? And anything you would have done different? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not. And as always, we'll see what we come up with next.